The champagne tower shattered first, then my entire world. I stood there in my custom Vera Wang gown, watching champagne cascade down the crystal pyramid like my dignity pooling on the marble floor. The woman who just hurled her clutch at the display stood in the doorway of the Grand Ballroom, her red dress screaming louder than the gasps echoing through the room. "You think you're marrying a faithful man?" she shrieked, her voice cutting through the string quartet's rendition of Canon in D. "That baby he promised me? The apartment lease with both our names? Tell her, Marcus. Tell your precious bride about us." Marcus went white. Not the charming, confident investment banker who'd proposed on a beach in Santorini. Not the man who'd held me through my father's funeral and promised forever. This Marcus looked like a cornered animal, his bow tie suddenly too tight, his perfectly styled hair falling across his forehead as beads of sweat formed at his temples. Every head in that ballroom of 200 guests swiveled between the three of them, like spectators at the world's most expensive tennis match. My mother clutched her pearls. His mother reached for her wine. Bridesmaids froze mid-step down the aisle, their bouquets suspended in confusion. The woman in red, Simone, as I'd later confirm, took 3 determined steps forward, her heels clicking against the floor with the rhythm of inevitability. She pulled out her phone, fingers trembling but purposeful, and began swiping through photos that she projected onto the screen, meant for displaying our carefully curated engagement slideshow. There they were. Marcus and Simone in Paris, the city where he'd told me he was attending a finance conference. Marcus and Simone on a yacht during the weekend he'd claimed he needed for a bachelor's fishing trip with college friends. Marcus kissing her stomach in what appeared to be a nursery, pale yellow walls visible behind them, a crib half-assembled in the corner. 18 weeks, Simone announced, her hand moving to her stomach, a small bump barely visible beneath the silk of her dress. That's how pregnant I am with his child. The child he begged me to keep. The child he said would make us a family once he figured out how to break things off with you gently. The photographer, God bless her professional instincts, kept shooting, every angle of devastation, perfectly framed. My wedding videographer zoomed in, perhaps thinking this was some avant-garde performance art. It wasn't. This was my life imploding in real time, witnessed by everyone I'd ever cared about, catered by the finest culinary team in the city, decorated with $50,000 worth of peonies and roses. But here's the thing about being publicly humiliated in front of 200 people. Here's what happens when your brain chooses fight over flight. Something crystallizes. Something sharp and clear cuts through the fog of shock, and you either crumble or you rise. I chose to rise, and I chose vengeance, swift and surgical. "Marcus," I heard myself saying, voice steady despite my hammering heart. "Is this true?" He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at his groomsmen as if they held cue cards for this impossible situation. "I can explain," he finally managed. "It's complicated. Simone, she's not. We're not. This isn't what it looks like." "I'm not what it looks like?" Simone's voice cracked. "You told me you loved me. You told me we'd raise this baby together. You told me she was just an obligation, a relationship you'd outgrown, but didn't know how to end without destroying her." An obligation. The word hung in the air like poison gas. 5 years together. 5 years of building a life, planning a future, intertwining bank accounts and dreams, reduced to an obligation. I looked at my maid of honor, Jessica, my best friend since college, who'd been suspicious of Marcus's late nights and distant behavior for months. Her eyes asked me a single question without words. "Are you okay?" I nodded, barely perceptible, then turned to face the assembled crowd. "Well," I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice, "this certainly makes the next part easier." I walked to the microphone, the one set up for toasts, my train whispering against the floor like a benediction. Every eye fixed on me. Every phone now recording what would surely become viral content by morning. I didn't care. In that moment, I transcended caring. "I need everyone to stay exactly where they are," I announced. "Please, nobody leave. The caterers have prepared an extraordinary meal. The band has been paid through midnight. The bar is open, courtesy of Marcus's parents. And I think we should all enjoy it, because this reception represents approximately $150,000 that someone is going to pay." Marcus found his voice. "What are you doing?" But I was already nodding to Jessica, who understood immediately and pulled out her own phone. Within seconds, she was projecting new images on that screen, the one still glowing with evidence of Marcus's betrayal. Text messages I discovered just 3 days ago when his phone accidentally synced to my laptop. I'd been compiling a presentation, waiting for the right moment, never imagining that moment would arrive so spectacularly. Messages to Simone, yes, but also to 3 other women whose names I didn't recognize. Promises made to each. Lies stacked on lies like a house of cards in a hurricane. Marcus is a venture capitalist, I told the room, my voice gaining strength with each word. He's very good at identifying opportunities and exploiting them for maximum return on investment. It appears he's been applying the same strategy to his personal life, maintaining multiple relationships simultaneously, making promises he never intended to keep, and diversifying his portfolio, as it were, to hedge against loss. Simone's face transformed from righteous anger to dawning horror as she read the messages, seeing herself as just another line item in Marcus's spreadsheet of manipulation. "You told me I was the only one," she whispered. "You said she meant nothing." I walked down the aisle toward her, this woman who just destroyed my wedding, and in that moment, I felt an unexpected kinship. "He told me you were a crazy ex who wouldn't accept it was over," I said softly. "How much did he promise you? What did he say to make you believe?" The room had gone silent, except for the quiet sobbing of Marcus's mother and the frantic whispered conversation between his father and the family attorney who'd been seated at table 6. Marcus himself stood frozen at the altar, his best man's hand on his shoulder, the only thing keeping him upright. "This is insane," he finally said. "You're both insane. Those messages are taken out of context. Simone is delusional. This whole thing is a misunderstanding that could be cleared up if everyone would just calm down and be rational." "Rational," I repeated, tasting the word. "You want rational? Here's rational, Marcus. This wedding is off, obviously. The marriage license remains unsigned. Your belongings will be delivered to your office by Monday. The apartment we shared, the one in my name that you convinced me to keep solely in my name for tax purposes, isn't your home anymore. And Simone?" I turned to her again. "I suggest you get a good lawyer and file for child support immediately, because based on what I've discovered about Marcus's financial arrangements, he's been hiding assets in offshore accounts and shell companies. I've already forwarded everything to the IRS and the SEC. If there's anything coming to your baby, you'll need to claim it before the federal government takes its share." The beauty of total destruction is the clarity it brings, the freedom of having nothing left to lose. I surveyed the room, these people who'd come to celebrate a love that never existed, and I smiled. "Please, everyone, enjoy the party. Eat, drink, dance. Consider it a celebration of truth, however ugly it might be. And Marcus, Simone, you're both welcome to stay, though I imagine you'll want to compare notes on exactly how many promises were made and to how many people." As I walked out of that ballroom, my train gathered in one hand, my head held high. I heard the first tentative clink of silverware on china, then the low hum of conversation rising like a tide. Behind me, Marcus and Simone faced each other across the ruins of their respective delusions, 2 people who'd thought they were the exception to his pattern of lies. The photographer caught my exit, the last frame of the most expensive truth I'd ever purchased. And somewhere behind me, I heard the band strike up again. Not the planned first dance, but something with a heavy beat, something that shook the floor. People were staying, I realized. They were actually going to eat that meal and drink that champagne and treat my canceled wedding like the spectacle it had become. Good, I thought. Let them feast on Marcus's downfall. Let every bite and every drink be a reminder that some things cannot be hidden forever. That truth has a way of crashing the party when you least expect it.